This week we make our way to the Yorke Peninsula. We start off in Port Broughton before making our way down to Wallaroo. From there we check out a couple of beach camps before heading to Warooka to explore the area around Point Turton. We stayed at Port Broughton Tourist Park on recommendation of our friends, and we're glad we did. We had planned on going to the Flinders Ranges, but South Australia had a heat wave of 40 plus degrees for 5 consecutive days, so we figured it probably wasn't the best idea hiking with kids. Fortunately, we had a powered site right next to the water playground, with 2 large water slides and a splash area. It was great for keeping the kids cool. There was also a mini golf course, a pump track, pool, and pedal cars. We were glad to have some downtime. So we come down North Beach today. In the background behind me we've got Wallaroo, which is actually where the ferry comes over from the Yorke Peninsula. It leaves Lucky Bay, which is just north of Cowell, and then comes in here. So if you can't be bothered doing the trip around through Port Augusta, this is where you'll come in. But this is a beautiful little beach. We come down here for a few hours. Kids had a great time in the water. It's really warm here. The water's nice and shallow, and there's a few little pools, and the water just heats up on a hot day. It's about half an hour drive from Port Broughton, and yeah, we've had a good afternoon.
Something happened when you walked out through my door. Can't imagine what my life was like before.
So we came into Wallaroo today, just stopped in to actually get some groceries and some fuel. As we're driving through town, it actually looks like a really nice town, and we actually changed our plans and decided to stop in here for the night, just because it looked like such a nice little town. And I mean, that's one of the beauties of not having anything booked, not planning anything, is that we can change our plans to the drop of the hat. So we just checked Wiki Camps, found that there was a free camp right in town here, so we parked the van up there, came into town, we went to the jetty, which is a really cool old jetty that you can walk along. You can walk right out to the end, and one of the things that I've never seen before, but as you're walking along, there's actually pigeons living like under the jetty. And I assume that because it's a grain jetty where the ships come in, they load grain onto the ships, all the pigeons must just eat all the grain, but they live under the jetty, so you see all these pigeons under your feet. We checked that out, and then we came into town. Earlier in the day when I was walking through town, I saw this place, the Bond Store. It looked really cool. They had their own distillery here and their own brewery. So we decided coming here for dinner. Food was top notch, beers were great, and Elle said that the gin cocktail that she had was really tasty. The staff here as well are also really friendly. Derek, the owner, he was very welcoming. So if you're in Wallaroo, I'd suggest coming and checking this place out. I think it's got like 4.7 stars out of 5, and 200 odd reviews on Google, so that speaks for itself. So. Wallaroo, yeah, I'd recommend staying here for a few days. We're staying just the night, and we're going to push on to a beach camp after this. Alright, so last night when we came into the Bond Store, Derek was telling us that they were going to be doing a brew this morning. Yep. So I've come down here this morning. Luke, this is Luke, he's the head brewer here. He actually started at 4 o'clock this morning, but I've been a bit slack and I got down here at about 7:30. So what can you tell us about the joint here, Luke, with regards to the brewing? And
regards to the brewing and the whole joint, brewery, micro distillery, restaurant. The beer we're making today is a beach ale, which is one of our easy drinking session-ish type ales.
Yep.
apart from that, pretty easy drinker,
Yeah.
nice on a hot day.
Yeah.
that's
And yourself, you were saying that you've been brewing for a few years
Yeah,
now?
been professional for 3 years now. So
Yeah.
still lots to learn, but
Yeah.
it's good fun. So
And one question I had to ask, is it a prerequisite that every brewer has facial hair?
yeah, I think so. I didn't before I started, so and now I do.
All right, well now we got that out of the way. So what's the process, just the general process of doing a brewery here?
So the general process here is we mill the grain.
Yeah.
So mill it all up, and then we mix it with water in the mash tun, which is the vessel on the right hand side there, and then gets mixed around in there for an hour, and then we separate the wort from the grain and transfer it into the kettle, and then it gets boiled for an hour.
Yeah,
And
cool.
then once that's finished, transfer it into a fermenter and let it chill out for 4 weeks.
Yeah. And so with regards to different types of beers, they have different lengths of fermentation.
So your lagers, because they're usually a cold fermented beer, so they'll take anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, and your normal ales, usually people are pumping them out within 3-4 weeks, so all sort of depends on what yeast you use and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah. And these fermenters you got here, how big are they?
So the 2 big ones are 1,800 litres, and the 2 smaller ones are 1,000 litres.
Yeah. And so obviously your kettle only, how much does that hold?
1,000 litres.
So the 1,800 litre ones, they can you still only put 1,000.
You can put 1,000 in it, or we'll do a double batch, or we'll add liquor back to it to get the gravity we want and the volume we want.
Yeah. So you can put the first thing in and then redo another one and then top that up. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And so you pretty much just supply the restaurant here, but you also do a few places in Adelaide.
Yeah, a few places in Adelaide, Oldgate Pump, Region Cellars, a few different places.
Yeah.
New places popping up all the time. So.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, we're going to hang around for a bit and we're going to check out the process and we'll give you a look.
Definitely. Usually my week will consist of cleaning everything on a Monday. So try and make everything nice and shiny and clean. Then on a Tuesday, I'll mill up all the grain and get that ready to go. Do some fine tuning on the recipes, check the notes, change what I want to change and try this time, or keep it the same if it was nice. And then on a Wednesday, all systems go. So go from there.
And you said with the beers, how many kilos of grain do you use?
So it all depends. Like if you do a big hazy IPA with a 1,000 litre batch, generally around 300 odd kilo. And then for a 4.5% beer, it's about 200 kilos. So pretty labour intensive, but that's okay. Thankfully now there's a mobile canner in SA who comes up here and cans everything, because before it was a bit of a nightmare. But
yeah, okay. What does that entail? Like, how do you can a beer?
So it needs to finish fermenting, and then you just try and get your carbs right, and then just package it into cans. Really, it's not too much involved.
Because I know with my homebrew, obviously quite different to this, but I'd have to put some sugar in the bottle. Do you do the same thing, or is it all?
No, we just force carb here. So we started using spunding valves now as well, which lets us naturally carbonate beers a bit, but then you still need to top it off with a bit more carbon dioxide just to get the fizz that we need.
So it's a bit like your soda stream type thing,
Yeah. Just weighing out some hops and the salts for the boil. So this is like a sulfite, just adjusting our water chemistry to get because we're trying to make a relatively soft and fluffy beer.
You filter the water?
Yeah, filter our water and then add in calcium sulfate back in to adjust how we need to.
There's not as much hops there as I thought there'd be.
No, all back end these days. So all in the dry hop and late in the boil. So this beer isn't overly bitter anyway. Yeah. So it's about 20 IBUs, which is probably a little bit more than like a bog standard super dry or whatever.
And so the hops stay in there, or do they get?
So they get filtered out.
Yeah.
Like we spin it around so all the hops settle out
so
in
like
the middle. So we
centrifuge type thing.
we give it a bit of a whirlpool, and most of the hops filter out, and then we've got another filter that'll go in there and catch all the leftover bits. So it goes pretty milky to start with, just when the yeast sort of kicks off.
Yeah.
And then after the yeast sort of has done its job, then it all settles out and gets clear. Like that's all after it's been finished, so you'll just taste. You can taste some if you want, it's not going to hurt you, but it just won't be sweet anymore. It'll just be like eating plain porridge.
Yeah, okay. Because I know when I was doing homebrew, I'd add malt, but that's because I was doing a liquid extract, whereas when you're doing all grain, the malt is in the grain.
So instead of getting those cans, just have this.
So if you were trying to do this on a larger scale, once you empty this, you could just restart this process
straight in.
And then by the time this is done with the kettle will be finished and you'd be able to put it into that.
That in an ideal world, that's how they all do it. Like, because usually, like a lot of bigger breweries will have a louder tun as well, which is just used for sparging everything. So you move all the grain and everything across to that, and then that's just used as a separating vessel. So then you can start mashing straight away again.
If anyone watching wanted to do what you do, what would they have to do?
Just start home brewing, and then try and go and do a TAFE course. I think there's now uni courses that you can do, and a lot of places are starting to do traineeships as well. So plenty of opportunity out there, especially the way the job market is at the moment. It's a bit unreal.
And in the 3 years you've been doing it, have you seen like an increase in microbreweries and stuff, like even just in that short period of time? Huge increase.
So
because like I was saying before, like even in Perth, they're just popping up everywhere. So
same here, popping up all over the place. In Adelaide I think they've opened up, there's 2 new ones in the last week, I think alone. So
and out in the Yorke Peninsula, you said it's you guys and there's one other one?
Watakawi. So
one's a Cowie, was it? And where's that? Do you remember?
Minleton. Let me double check.
What's going on?
Not happy. Second time this happened. These fridges suck.
Can we fix it? Is it the same as last time?
Oh, it's probably the same as last time, I don't know.
I reckon stuff just moves around and pushes on
falls in the doors. Like I said to you when we were driving here, I said they should have bars across the thing to stop stuff falling in the door.
It's ridiculous. Any damage this time?
I don't know. I even stopped to check on it on the trip, and it was still on at that point. What a stunning free camp Wauraltee Beach was. If it hadn't have been for the persistent sandblasting wind and our fridge door coming off before we even entered the beach, we likely would have stayed a few days. There's also a paid council bush campground if you don't want to stay on the beach. That might be a good option for windy days.
Never seen nothing like this.
Barker's Rocks is one of the Yorke Peninsula's council campsites. You can book it online, but just be aware that there aren't a lot of campsites available. There are toilet facilities, but other than that you need to be fully self-contained. You can access the beach with your car and drive along it to find your own stretch of paradise. And by all accounts, it's a great spot to fish.
Anything like this. Got your eyes open wide and you're staring. Never seen anything like this. Oh, the wonder you feel
We've had the last 2 nights here at Warooka. It's a donation camp offered by the local council, and we'd highly recommend it. It has everything you need and it's close to Point Turton. So we've got flat ground behind me for overnighter, dump point, toilets, bins, and just across the oval there's a playground. You can also top up your water. So yeah, leave a good donation, keep these camps going, because yeah, they make a big difference to full-time travellers, and it's nice and close to everything down here at the bottom of the peninsula.
I've been some crazy since the day I was born. I've done some things that you just couldn't ignore. It's the chase and the haste of all I adore. But you got me where you want me, so just give me some more. It's like, it's just my wild side. It's a state of mind. It's just my wild side.
Alright, so we've taken a 10-minute drive down from Warooka down to Flaherty Beach. It's probably about the same distance from Point Turton, just in further south down the peninsula. It's quite a nice beach. Tide's out at the moment. It actually reminds me a bit of Herald Bight in Shark Bay, you know, with the tide going out and you can walk out along the mud flats. I don't think there was as much sort of wildlife that was as easily visible out here, but it's still a beautiful beach. The water, once you get out there, it's just crystal clear, quite shallow, good for kids. And you can drive a fair way along the beach as well. Sand dunes at the back. They do have the birds that nest near the sand dunes to try and stay down towards the water. We might head on from here and go check out what else is around Point Turton.
Oh, you know, the feeling goes, I can't describe. I'll keep on living in the way that I do. Don't you go tell me that I'm failing.
Magazine Bay is a beautiful spot right near Point Turton. With easy access via a set of stairs, the boys had a great time throwing rocks into the water and exploring a little cave. Unfortunately, our visit was cut short when William's wayward arm slung a rock that hit Elle right in the back of the head. She's alright, but life with kids, eh?
It's just my wild side.